I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service. HU. And may that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you all. While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win.
Harris had our gargantuan task to come in, fill in for the designated Democratic nominee, and try to win in about 100 days. She came really close, and I think it should be noted that it's a large task. It's a huge task to put together a national campaign in that short a period of time. She was an unknown quantity compared to Donald Trump. And so people didn't necessarily know how she was going to govern, but what they did know was that she was attached to an unpopular administration that had a low approval rating. And people have nostalgic memories of the Trump administration, especially with respect to the economy before COVID, and considering how important that was as an issue in this election cycle, there were a lot of voters who thought that Trump was going to do better on the economy.
Because my economy was much better under him than it is now. And the immigration issue is very important to me.
Economy's been horrible. Pay raise after pay raise, still can't make ends meet, so.
Women's rights, the rights to control your decisions for your body. Yeah.
Economy.
Yeah.
And what voters decided was that they were comfortable with what they knew from the Trump administration, as opposed to one betting on the Harris administration, one being different from the Biden administration, or not necessarily knowing or trusting what was going to come from her leadership if she were elected president.
We're going to help our country here. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that.
Because a lot of people said elections, even my son, wanted him too, because he a man, they think he could be stronger, and all this war. And nobody wanted her, I guess, because they were saying about the army. But what a woman can do, what that man can do. They didn't even give her a chance,
And then too, we also have to ask ourselves, the role that, sexism in particular, might actually be playing in terms of people's preferences for a female candidate. I can't tell that from the exit poll data. There will be other surveys that, are being pulled out of the field right now, or getting ready to go in the field, where people are going to ask those questions. And so we'll know sort of whether or not people's suspicions or stereotypes about machismo actually have any impact at all on vote choice. People who are aligned with Donald Trump are going to point to the fact that Donald Trump increased his vote share, particularly amongst Asian American and Hispanic groups, as evidence of, this isn't necessarily about race. People of color didn't vote for Kamala Harris at the same rate that they voted for other people. I think that's a very simplistic answer, and I think we're going to have to wait to see and factor in how things like racial resentment and perceptions of sexism are going to sort of correlate with a person's likelihood of voting for Trump or for Harris in this election.
Sí, claro, claro que nos va a beneficiar mucho en el aspecto de que se va a enfocar más en la economía, porque sí nos ha estado afectando últimamente, y pues siento más seguridad también en el aspecto con lo de la seguridad de migración.
Que creo que sí va a mejorar el país en todos los aspectos, y somos más los hispanos y queremos votar más, estar más mejor aquí.
There are people who voted against Donald Trump because of his rhetoric that seem to be targeting minoritized communities who are fearful that he means everything that he said and that he is in a position to be able to act on those threats that he made towards minoritized communities. And so they are bracing themselves for feeling embattled and attacked for the next 4 years.
You know, it was a feeling of dismay. As an African American in this country, it just sort of made me realize just, you know, how racist and sexist this country is, unfortunately.
We know after time and time, women have to come out, they have to vote. They also have to, in a man's field, to understand we are going to get discrimination on color.
Trump has said a lot of divisive, but incisive things that I really just don't support, like morally as a human.
As a queer person, I am really scared about the future of queer rights in the States, in Ohio especially, but everywhere.
You know, there are groups that might be more likely to kind of be guinea pigs of these policies than others, and so they're feeling particularly vulnerable right now. And I don't think that it's unreasonable or irrational if you believe what people say. So if you take the promises literally, then you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be sort of a different environment, a different climate in which to operate if you're a minoritized person. And it's not just things that will specifically or very clearly affect minority communities. I think that there are also, you know, issues that could affect whites as well. And so, you know, if you think about whites who came out in opposition to him, especially those who did it publicly, right? Does Trump feel emboldened now because of his victory and the perceived mandate of having won the popular vote and the electoral college vote to seek retribution against his political enemies? And so I think that there are people who are actually waiting to see whether or not you take Trump literally or whether you take him seriously.